Good morning and welcome along to our weekly live stream from Burnley. Apologies for the 1 minute late start today, doing the exciting household chores before we came on. But thank you very much for joining me this morning and being along for us as we start our live stream. Today we've got a few big games coming up. We're playing through a few more with Burnley. We continue our European run in the Europa Conference. And we're going to have to make some tough decisions in terms of which competitions we prioritise. So if you are new along and you are just joining in for the first time, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. It does make such a difference to have you along this morning. And hopefully you'll enjoy this stream as much as I will, which will largely be dependent on results, of course. So thank you very much for coming in this morning. I do hope you're looking forward to it. And hopefully there's some positives to come. But I will not promise that just yet. I really do appreciate your support though. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. And let's get cracking with Burnley FC. As we start today with one of our big deciders, which is Chelsea. You didn't expect this probably based on last season to be 9th v 10th in the Premier League. It is very tight in the middle there. Probably from Leicester in 7th place on 45 down to Leeds on 40 in 12th. There's 5 points separating the 6 of us. So realistically, that's going to be very difficult for us to decide. And we're going to have to make the difficult decision, which is at times to play our backup team in the league, to prioritise Europe, to prioritise other competitions. And I just don't know how well that's going to work out. El Gaming, good morning, welcome along. Great to have you in. Thanks for your support. It's lovely to see so many people viewing already. If you haven't yet, please chuck a thumbs up on it. Please do get involved down in the chat. We got lots of football to talk today, especially as my beloved Luton Town are playing against Manchester United this evening. The first time in my lifetime I can remember that happening. And no chance to go because of course we're playing behind closed doors. It's on Sky Sports as well, which I haven't yet got because we haven't been switched over yet. So a little bit difficult, but we'll find a way around it. But today we start against Chelsea and I've had to make the decision. Don't forget we left the first leg of the Europa League or the Europa Conference second knockout round with a 2-0 victory at home to Vitória Guimarães of Portugal. We're going to have to rest players against Chelsea. Half weren't fit anyway, and the other half we're going to rest for Thursday night. The week after, our game's been moved to Monday, so I'm hoping that'll be a bit easier. But the last thing we want to do is give up the opportunity to win a trophy for arguably the first time of the series here. So we want to make sure we don't get that. So we want to make sure we don't miss that, sorry. I don't know what sentence I was trying to bring out there. But apart from Rob Simpson and Ryan Summerskill in goal, and you could argue Ashley Harrott, who has at times been first choice, this is very much a backup side. Good players like Balogun still in net, but otherwise a lot of youngsters. The likes of Frutoso, Garner, Mullen, I mean they'd never be near the team. Marcus Vinicius, probably not even in our backup 11 if everyone's fit. So some difficult moments for us there, but we have to prioritise winning trophies. That's what I want to achieve and that's what we're going to go for this year. So I hope you'll enjoy it as much. Well, Tom, go to a pub and watch it. I've got a feeling from this evening I'd be kicked out after the 86th minute because they're going to close at 10 o'clock from tonight if I remember rightly. So probably not a good option. I'll probably end up getting a Now TV pass because I think at the moment if you buy a day pass to that you get a 3-month mobile pass for Sky Sports Premier League. So that will probably cover me for the period till we move over then. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing. We're going to ask the lads to pick up where they left off because it was a good win in Europe in the week. And we're going to drop to a balanced mentality. It's not going to be quite so long a stream today just because we've got a couple of podcasts to record. The Cliftonville series is taking shape. And then we will, of course, be moving over to watch Luton this evening. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably go a bit longer. But Luton v United doesn't happen often. So I'm going to make the most of it. But let's get into the first half of this game. We have dropped to a balanced mentality. Jude Bellingham to Mason Mount. Of course, don't forget, when we were playing in the head coach with this Burnley side, we then moved to Gladbach and then Chelsea. So a lot of these players will recognise. Jude Bellingham, the man who was sold as soon as we joined the club, and he has scored the opener here. But in terms of the actual team itself, you can see the likes of Al Jahani, Christensen, Vinagre's there, Fathi on the left, Mendes on the right, Gross up front. 6 players that were heroes in that head coach series. They were all heroes for us at Chelsea. And so many of them still here now, which is going to be enjoyable for us. But it's a really good start for Chelsea, not so much for ourselves. We're not having the best time at the moment, and Chelsea completely on top. Dominguez picking it up in the middle to Bellingham. They're still going strong here. Dominguez again in the centre circle. Back to Christensen. Long ball over to Vinagre. And we've been caught in no man's land. Where's the right back, Liam Garner? It's into Gross, down for Fathi. And he's put it wide. He had to score that. 15 minutes on the clock. We're going to put McNeil up to an inside forward. But I don't actually know if there's a positive solution here. Because it doesn't look a good start for us. Tom, you thought it was from Thursday? I'm not sure. To be honest, I try and stay away from some of the politics at the moment because most of it doesn't make sense. I saw the thing from Matt Hancock yesterday about it being easy for GPs to get tests. I can assure you in the last week that isn't the case. But otherwise, yeah, we'll all tick over. Some things are going to go wrong soon, but we'll keep ticking over for now. 20 minutes on the clock. It's out to Fathi on the left-hand side. Coming forward, cuts inside his man. Oh, he skinned the whole team. That is so easy. Ansu Fathi eventually puts it wide. But thankfully, we've managed to survive it. Thank you to everyone that's joined along. It's good to have 4 or 5 of you in already. Normally we start slowly and then move on as the stream gets later in the morning. And we will try and throw in some bonus weekend ones now. Because I know a lot of people are going back to school, college, uni. It looks like people are going to be asked to work from home again where possible. So we shouldn't have too many problems with that. But we've gone 2-0 down. We're getting completely outclassed. And I don't actually know what the best solution is here. Because Chelsea look like they could win this by 10 if they want. I've just recognised all of the bench, bar 2, is the bench that we're used to as well. They've got a very young Will Mealer there. They've got the likes of Godfrey, Henderson, Ortega, all players we used in our Chelsea stint. As Mullen hits the bar from a corner and Mendes can bring it away. The first real threat we've had, and it took nearly the whole first half. Charlie, yeah, I thought a few people would probably mention the scenes last night. Hashtag United on the BBC Red button and just flouted all social distancing regulations. It's such a shame because I know the government had already probably made their mind up on pausing the progress today. But for us, we're looking at the sort of bigger term picture. There's still going to be people from the FA, from the EFL, from the National League lobbying. And it's not going to have helped their cause. So it was disappointing to see. From my point of view, in the NHS, it was very annoying to see because it was so avoidable. It's a big old place with 300 people and it could have been mixed better. And the players didn't help themselves either, to be honest, because they were going over, getting hugs from the fans and things like that. And they might well be in their social bubbles, but you've got to put a good image on TV. So it is a shame. It's a learning curve for Hashtag. They're a fairly new side. It's probably the first big TV game they've had on the BBC. So you do have to have the mitigating circumstances in. But I felt like it could have been controlled better. And it's a shame for us, both from a work point of view and from a fan of non-league football's point of view. But it is what it is. It's happened now. We can't change it. It's Matas in the middle. We're just starting to come back into this in the second half. A few lads looking anxious, but we're not really getting anywhere. And Chelsea, again, beating the press so easily and making this look easy against us. We never expected to win this game. We knew what was going to happen when we rested the team. But it doesn't make it any easier to watch. As Frutoso picks it up off the keeper, we can't really get out of our own half. Simpson picks it up, moves forward, but no harm doing. We'll get the early bets going as well. What do we want to have for lunch today? Because a choice of takeaways are available. Put on £3 at the weekend due to a unhealthy weekend. Not a good way to start. As we move to the edge of the box, Dominguez finds Vinagre on the left-hand side, into the box alone. Shot beats the near post and it's out for a goal kick. And I think it's time for changes. I'm not sure who though. I think, and I know this is controversial, Sunday Balogun might have to come off. In fact, no, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to go to the tactics. We're going to go positive. We're going to take Vinicius off. We're going to put Balogun on the left wing. He will be, winger on attack, that's fine. And then up front we'll have Andy May. In the number 10 role we'll stick with Harrott. In midfield, see, Mullen's anxious, but he's been our best player. Frutoso's not great, so we'll bring on Flauhaut. And then I think McNeil replaced by Leon Lowry. He'll be an inside forward on attack. And we'll get back into it and just throw everything at it. Let's have a go for 25 minutes. Thank you to all the people joining along as well. Good to have so many of you here. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Don't forget, we'll have another episode of our Cliftonville series today. That will be back at 4:30. It's been an interesting week or so in that one. The support for it and the feedback has been mind-blowing as we go 3 behind for Alfredo Mendes. We know how dangerous him and Gross can be from the head coach. So we understand that our backup side probably can't cope. But yeah, I've got to thank you for your support with the feedback on Cliftonville. The number of likes, the watch time, the feedback, it's just been excellent. It's probably the best initial feedback I've ever had to a series. I know when we started the head coach in FM19 and 20 it will get more views, as Sunday Balogun just scores an absolute screamer. It was a long ball over the top, he beats the fullback and then just rifles it in the corner. But yeah, the head coach has had more views generally, but the watch time, the support and the general positivity, I've not seen anything like it. And we've gone to 2-3 here. We better stop talking about Cliftonville and focus on Burnley, because we are making a comeback. Leon Lowry has now scored, no goal droughts for Balogun or him. And we've got Chelsea on the rope suddenly. Where on earth has this come from? They still look like scoring every time they come forward, but hopefully we'll be able to get one more than them. L Gaming, sorry I can only pop in for a bit. No, that's alright. We appreciate the situation at the minute. I'm sure it will be changing over the next few weeks. And of course, we've already got a plan ready for FM21, which will include an awful lot more in terms of weekend streaming. As Mendes has scored again, that's our hopes for this game over. It's turned into a bit of a ding-dong battle here. Tom, I've got a message from you as well. Let's have a look. Luton coming off 4 straight wins. United had a bad result on Saturday and a couple of weeks behind on fitness. I reckon it's going to pens tonight. I actually think it'll be a close game. I really do. And I'm not saying that as a... You know what I'm like. I'm normally quite pessimistic with Luton. But I do believe it'll be a close game. I think United will probably play some of the younger, quicker players in attacking positions. And I think they'll probably have a bit much for Luton on the break. But I think we'll scare them. So I'm going to go for sort of a 2-1 or 3-2 to United. But I feel like we'll have the lead at some point. But then United at the back, they struggle with that sort of momentum as well. So if Harry Cornick's on form perhaps, but will the first team play? I'm talking as if it's going to be Cornick, Collins, Bradley and Pearson, but it might not be that way. So I'll wait and see. But then I guess if it's not Pearson and Bradley, it'll be a Welsh international coming into the team, won't it? So it's not all bad. A disappointing result to start against Chelsea, but we've done this to make sure we get through in Europe on Thursday. So that's going to be the crucial result here. If we're losing that one and we go out, then that has all been pretty much pointless. So yeah, I'm not quite sure about tonight. I'm a little bit torn on what's going to happen for Luton there. But I hope that you're right. I'd rather it go to penalties than we lose by the odd goal. It's only 90 minutes, isn't it? And penalties then gives us a chance. We move towards Thursday. We've then got Sheffield United, then a 2-week break. But I'm not sure where the other European fixtures will fit in. So we'll wait for a moment before we find out. Jared Bowen's playing for them. Did he play in the first leg? I'm sure he didn't. I'm going to have a look at that now. He did. Jared Bowen played in the first leg and we didn't even notice last week. He's still a very good player, by the way. Over in Portugal, and he'll be the star in the second leg for him. I've accidentally played the match report, so we're going to have to wait for a minute here. But I am so shocked that Jared Bowen was there. Did not expect that at all. So if he's a star in the second leg, I know at 34, perhaps not at the peak of his powers, but still a very good player. Tom, NJ played a strong side last round. Well, he did, but it was still 9 changes from the 11 that played at the weekend and the weekend before. It was only... who stayed in the team? Sonny Bradley and Norrington Davis. They were the only 2 out of the first 11 that played. Otherwise, it was a completely rotated side. It just shows that we've got a decent squad, but it's not too dissimilar to what we had last year. Of course, Jordan Clark will come in and start, and he seems to score every time he's on the pitch now. I don't know if... the ones I'm not sure about are like, you know, where Hilton's obviously a backup to Collins. Will he come into the side? Will... I don't know, let's say Kazenga Lualua come in for Elliot Lee. They're not really weakening the side, are they? Some ones I'm not so worried about. It's the ones like Collins for Hilton. Will Collins play? You know, we've got to wait and see at the end of the day, but it'll be interesting. Right back again, no issue. James Bree can come in. We don't know if Glenn Ray's going to be fit because he went off at half time on Saturday with an illness. So there's a few to be confirmed, but I fancy any Luton side to give them a game, really. I think the more unpredictability is what side United are going to put out. Because I think for Solskjaer, it could well be... well, you've just said it there, yeah. Solskjaer might see it as his best chance of winning the trophy. It's exactly what I was about to say. Will he see it as that route to save his job? Because if he doesn't win anything this year, especially if they don't beat 4th or 5th, really, I think he'll get sacked. So it's going to be important for him For Nathan Jones, it's a free swing, isn't it? We're going to go for Grondona in goal today, but aside from that, we're going to go for the first 11. So that will mean Wimmer at left back, Bonner right back, then Simpson and Flauhaut, because Fabio's still not fit. In midfield, we've got Vinicius Xavier, we've got Bartle. On the right wing, we've got Jack Vaughan. On the left wing, we've got Owen Edmonds. And in the number 10, it's going to be Phil Richards. Up front, we're going to go back for Leon Lowry, who of course scored off the bench at the weekend, which should help him. Substitutes, Ruthven, Garner, Matas, Harrop, Mullen, McNeil and Sunday Balogun. Easy as you like. Into the game we go. Just the keeper changed. Aside from that, it's the first 11 and 18. So hopefully we'll remain that way. But this is going to be the key part for us today. If we can get through in Europe, we know that we'll be alright then. So let's see if we can do so. Keep the team focused. We've got the 2-0 lead, obviously, from the first leg at home. The clean sheet will be helpful. An away goal means that Vittorio Guimaraes will need 4. And that's what we have to aim for. And early on is Vaughan to Bartle. On the right-hand side, crosses in. Edmonds is there. Heads just over the bar. We're going to drop to a balanced mentality, as we often do for Europe. I'm not sure how it will pay out, though. 10 minutes in, and it looks like with Edmonds on a free kick on the left, Lowry at the back post. Had to score that. The goal was gaping. And he didn't take advantage. That's very difficult to take. But as it stands, I think we're going to be looking like getting through. Tom, what do I think of the Watford kickoff change time? I'm not happy about it, to be honest. One, because I'm working till 1:30, so I now won't be able to watch it. Secondly, moving games that are behind closed door on police advice, I kind of get the reason. But it's not going to make a difference, especially if by then the pub times move to 10 PM, because everyone will just start earlier. So it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. It's a very strange decision and actually harms... All you're doing is harming the 95% of fans that would have stayed at home and done it properly anyway. And you're encouraging them almost to break the rules because you're changing the rules to match the 5% who don't. So I'm annoyed that as a sensible fan, I'm being harmed by it, to be brutally honest. At half-time, it's 0-0. We're actually pretty pleased with that. Against a good side, we've kept them at bay. We've been the dominant force. It's just a shame we couldn't nick that away goal, which would really see the tie out. There's some other shocks, so I'm hoping we'll be able to get an easy quarter-final tie if we get through. As Edmonds comes down the left-hand side, he's into the box unmarked. Good save by Ali, but in truth, it was straight at him. We could have done with better than that. But not so bad so far. 18 minutes on the clock. And we look like we're heading through here, although it is an attack for the Portuguese side now. Josu to Liotta. Mamas. Back to the middle, gets it out to the left-hand side. We're closing him down, but not quite quick enough. Crossing from the left, and the man's at the back post, Jared Bowen. But Edmonds hacked it away. And now it's Raul on the left-back area. Back to the halfway side to Liotta. Long ball forward, which Bonner intercepts to Vaughan. Vaughan back into Simpson. Just keeping possession. And he's all the way back to Grondona in goal. To Flauhaut. Long ball forward towards halfway. Leon Lowry picks it up. He's going to come forward at the attacking 3. There's no one up with him at the moment, but he goes alone. And it's shot straight at the keeper. It's an interesting start to the second half. Bit of pressure from the Portuguese side, but no real threat of goals. And for us, we continue to have shots without any success. Liotta with a free kick on halfway. And it is a bit of a worry that the Portuguese are a bit higher up the pitch. So Mamas picks it up on the left. Back inside to Rodriguez. Switch to the right to Bowen. And he's of course the man to watch out for technically. Gabriel on the right hand side. Into Rodriguez. It's good football actually from these. Guimaraes playing good football. And they've gone long over the top eventually. They've varied it up. And Sorrell gets it inside. And they look like scoring here. Jared Bowen's in on the right. Cuts inside instead. Didn't want to use that right foot. Into Nobrado. And it's a good save from Grondona. Keeps it at 2-0 on the aggregate. 0-0 on the night. But a couple of threats at last. We're just going to hold off for a minute. We will demand more once this highlight ends. And we'll think about changes. As Lovardo on the left to Bowen. It is constant pressure. Bowen back to Liotta. And that should be it. We'll think about changes in a moment. With 20 to go. Sunday Balogun will come on up front. Jack Vaughan feels pressured. So on the right hand side. We will bring on Dwight McNeil. And in the middle, Bartle will be replaced by Matas. 20 to go. Let's see the tie out. It does seem odd for a behind closed doors game. Rumour that Luton fans were going to turn up, but as like you said, they still can anyway. Yeah, it doesn't make any difference to that. I don't really understand the logic behind it. I mean, I sort of say the same when it's games in the stadium, the normal sort of games. As Gamaras have scored one, we've got to concentrate here. But yeah, I sort of say the same then, to be honest, because what's the difference? People are still going to drink at home. I guess then it's 2 hours less to drink and cause trouble and whatever, but for a behind closed door game, it's going to be a minimal amount of fans that are going to take that trip to Watford. And if the policing and things can't control that, then there's a problem because it's going to be smaller numbers. Balogun gets the ball away to Richards. It's the same reason I haven't put it on TV, isn't it, if we're being honest? As Edmonds gets the ball to Rodriguez. Out to Bowen on the right. Long ball forward to Santos. He's in one-on-one. Oh, my words. Oh, we've thrown it away. How on earth can we defend that badly? And after all of the resting players for the Chelsea game, we might have bottled it here. I think we've thrown it away. And Gamaras have scored 2 quick goals. We're going to ask for some passion. And from complete dominance, we've managed to throw away our European chances. We're going to extra time. And we're not the best prepared to cope with it. I mean, John Underwood wants to encourage the team, but they don't deserve encouragement for that. They deserve a kick up the backside. I am so annoyed by that. What a bottle job this is. A real good chance to win trophies as well. Balogun with a corner. Simpson heads in. We needed that. At this point, it doesn't matter how we get through. We'll deal with the other stuff off the pitch. We just have to find a way through this tie. And at the moment, it looks like we've managed it. But 3-2, it's less of a lead than we had before, so we need to be careful. Half time and extra time. 2-1 on the night. It does mean that Gamaras need 2 goals to get through. We should be okay now. But we've let in 2 in quick succession before. Xavier's lost it in the middle as well. Lovardo through. He's into the box. He's got pressure on him, but it's shot straight at Grondona. Good goalkeeping. But there are so many things to be worried about here. 8 minutes to go in extra time. We're going to bring on Ruthven for Wimmer. A slightly more defensive-minded fullback. I think that's the last change of the match. So let's just see if we can hold on. 5 minutes. 4 to go. 3. We're counting them down. And we're into stoppage time. We have managed to do it. 2-1. It was far from convincing. It looked easy for 80 minutes. And then we decided to throw it away. But the main thing is we are into the last 8. Sporting Lisbon have gone out. Spartak Moscow, Sassuolo are all out. We've actually got a real good chance to win here. Lille are the obvious opponents. Rennes not far behind them. So Rennes in France have been finishing 6th the last 2 years. After 4th before that. Lemons is their key player. Worth 36 million. Oh, he's world class. Maybe not quite as easy as we thought. Lille have been finishing 7th, 5th and 4th the last 3 years. Galovic is their star. Of course, we had him at Barcelona in the head coach later down the line. A world-class left-back. So the 2 French sides, very much the ones we'd like to avoid. So I think you know who we're probably going to draw in the semis and the quarters tomorrow. Let's skip ahead and find out, though. That's going to be crucial. Not on TV because people are going to pubs, you mean? Yeah, that can be my only assumption. Because otherwise, it's a TV fixture, isn't it? So it's got to be the reason for it. Thank you to everyone popping along as well. Good to see so many of you coming in. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It's lovely to have you along this morning. I do the usual every week. I know that it's not ideal. Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. But unfortunately, due to work commitments, it's the only ones we can manage. But let's see if we can get a lucky draw in Europe. Who's that retiring? It is one of the scouts. He's not great anyway. So that's not a huge concern. And the scouts were irrelevant, really. We're only signing under 18s. Right, this should be the European draw coming up at lunchtime. Let's have a look. Here we go. The quarter-final draw. So basically, we'd love to get anyone apart from the 2 French sides. We'd probably like to avoid Feyenoord, but 3rd in the league. Anthony raised their start. He's a very good player, actually. So yeah, we wouldn't mind avoiding them. But let's just count our lucky stars. Young Boys of Switzerland. They're facing AAB of Denmark. So they're probably the 2 sides we most wanted to face. And they've drawn each other. NAC Breda of the Netherlands. They finished 6th last year after mid-table finishes before. Their key player's worth 9 million. So actually that would be a good draw. They've drawn Feyenoord. All Dutch tie there. Third tie, Rio Ave of Portugal. They've been a mid-table side. Their star player is good, but probably no better than Guimaraes. So let's see. That's Lille, which means we've drawn Rennes. So one of the French sides we wanted to avoid, and we've drawn them. What a fantastic start. Should we have a look at the rest of their side? Because, of course, Lemons is an absolute superstar. But how many more have they got? That's going to be the question. I'd imagine there's probably a few more in there. So next is Biskup. Is that? He's a left back who's very good. Omar Mbalo, very good. Tierno, the striker, very pacey. And Filip Benkovic, he's a real player. Experienced centre-half now, is a good player too. It looks like they're resting some players for Europe. But that could just be because they've had weaker opponents. And to be honest, if we have a look at who they had last time out, they had Spartak Moscow, so perhaps not. Maybe they're not prioritising this competition. Emi Buendia, Ismail Assar, experienced players in that team. If they play their reserves, I'll be confident. Let's have a look at the semi-final draw. If we do get through, we've avoided it again. So we're going to get the winners of the all-Dutch tie. So it could be Feyenoord, Rennes, and then Lille, conceivably. In which case, that's 3 very difficult ties. But we're going to have to keep prioritising it for our first team and hope they play better than they did this week. Wapos, good morning. Thank you for coming along. Great to see you here this morning, as always. My usual apology for the Tuesday morning live stream. Probably not quite so long today. We just want to get through a couple of European ties. We've eked our way through in the last 16. So what we'll do then is we'll get through the international break. We'll play West Ham in the first leg of the Rennes game. That's the plan anyway. It's much easier said than done when there's a three-week break for the internationals. We'll have to see how quickly it processes. But Sheffield United, the immediate focus. And for that one, we can play the first team. So the under-23s have got a game next week. All of those, bar Tim Preca, are free to play 90 minutes. And who else is there? Marcus Vinicius, Diogo Frutoso, Jose Miguel Henares. And that'll be it. Johnny Davis not quite fit yet either. Interesting start though, if nothing else. So the weekend fixtures in the Premier League taking place. We need to keep our eye on this battle for Europe. Because we're now 6 points off Leicester. And with the sort of running we've got in the Europa Conference, we can't really guarantee that we're going to win that and do it. We've obviously gone out of the League Cup. Are we out the FA Cup as well? I think we are, aren't we? Did we lose in the FA Cup? Yeah, we lost to West Ham in the 4th round replay. So it is basically win the Europa Conference to get into the Europa League, or get 7th in the Premier League and hope for the best in the Cups. It's basically what we're doing. I'd love to win a trophy though. So let's get through the press conference. You know that, the second options as usual. We just want to get through the game because the focus is Europe now. It's very key that those 5 games are going to define our season. And I want to make sure that they don't go wrong, basically. It's nice and simple in the end. And it sounds it on paper, but it's much harder. Particularly if we play like we did against Guimaraes in that second leg. Particularly the last 15 minutes where we just got arrogant. We assumed we were through. It was really frustrating to watch. Wolves beat Everton 5-0. Jeez. I mean, that probably helps us in the grand scheme of things. Tottenham have beaten Watford. That definitely helps us. Stoke have beaten Leicester, which does as well. Stoke, they're 6 points clear now. I know Liverpool have got 2 games in hand. But they're certainly in that top 4 battle. 2 years in a row they've finished 11th, so no real sign of it before. But they've brought some really good players in. The likes of Bruce Stenson have continued to improve. And Stoke are looking a threat. I'm just seeing if they signed anyone in January. No one massive. I mean, a couple of little deals. I guess improving the squad, which is just as important. And they sold 1 or 2 big experienced ones. So that's interesting. They're doing really well, though. A well-managed side, and it looks like they're on a positive trajectory. Sorry. I'm losing my words this morning. I'm not quite awake. I had a long day at work yesterday, so I feel a little bit asleep this morning, but I'm sure we'll get through it. We've got Sheffield United away from home. It's going to be a tough game. We're just about favourites. And our first 11, it looks like, is all fit. Flauhout 90%, but listed as match fit. Summerskill will come back in goal. And aside from that, I think we're going to stick with it. I just want to see what rating Phil Richards got. 7.1 away in Europe, so he'll stay first choice for now. Fabio back on the bench in place of Garner. And that'll be it. Into the game we go. We need to get back to winning ways in the Premier League. If we can stay in that with a sniff of it, just in case it all goes wrong in Europe, of course, it does give us a little bit of leeway. So let's go and do it for the fans. We've got everyone back, everyone fit, through the tunnel interview and into the first half. Sheffield United a test. Fraser Hornby up front. A Football Manager Wonderkid of a couple of years ago. Not been quite so good in these ones. But he's still a Premier League striker here, so he must be doing something right. As Leon Lowry picks it up. Can we counter from their corner? Leon Lowry down the left. Plenty of pressure on him. Gets past one sliding challenge. Crosses to the back post. And Jack Vaughan heads just over the bar. Let's have a look at Fraser Hornby. 31 years of age and not really great. 3 league goals this season. Not sure why he's earning 72 grand a week. He's done a decent job, so we can't argue with him. And I'm sure he'll come and score against us now, as he's picked up in the middle. Lots of good players in this Sheffield United side, as Armstrong comes forward to the left. And they're going to find Hornby here, aren't they? He's on the edge of the box. Great effort at goal. Summerskill saves, then decides to dive afterwards for some reason. As Sheffield United fighting relegation, and it looks like at the moment they're going to push away from that drop bottom 3. As Hornby loses out in the air to Vaughan, we've got a chance to counter. And Vinicius Xavier nicks it on the right. He's coming forward, not normally in attacking positions, but we've got a 2-on-2. 3 or 4 getting up in support. Bartle's one of them. Xavier to Vaughan. On the right, chance to cross it in to the back post and it's headed away. Richards down to Edmonds. His shot's blocked and cleared. There's so much pressure and nothing to show for it. As Sheffield United holds strong at the back. It's still 0-0 with 15 gone. Not the best start. Charlie, cracking into your Cliftonville season, although how you fell out with Gary Havering is beyond me. And in real life, the nicest bloke. There is a lot more to come between me and Gary Havering in the second season. That's the only spoiler I'll give you. Of course, we had the transfer special yesterday. We've got our first European game today in the qualifiers. So it really is a high action first couple of seasons. And of course, once you start to dominate in the league, which will probably happen within 3, 4, 5 years, then we have to start to worry about what can we do in Europe. And a reminder, of course, that our Dorking series is finishing this week. So tomorrow's the final episode, which is the 10 years in the future look. And in next week, Cliftonville will be full time. So we'll have 7 episodes a week, Monday to Friday at 4:30, Saturday and Sunday at 1 PM. We're going to go full time with Cliftonville. As I said earlier, the feedback for it has been better than probably any other series I've ever done on the channel. So it's something I'm really enjoying. I'm loving making it. And I'd love to get in as many seasons as possible before FM21. So it makes sense. I hope you're looking forward to it. And fingers crossed you won't all get bored when we go full time, because I'm absolutely loving it. I know it's hard when you're sort of dominating domestically, which will happen eventually, no matter how quick it is. But for us, once we get to Europe and we start to talk about, can we compete in group stages? Can we get through to group stages to start with? Then that's when it will start to become interesting in Europe. And our main focus will actually be that window before the season, and we'll barely show domestic action. We still haven't won a trophy yet, though, as Sheffield United have gone ahead. Look who scored it. Look who scored the goal. Fraser Hornby, the man that we said could not cut it at this level. So we're going to demand more. I mean, we have been woeful today in all of the games. The Chelsea one at the back, we looked like conceding every time. In the Guimaraes game, we got arrogant. And in this game, we've not really had a threat. It's Jack Vaughan on the right, though. Back to Bartle. Into Lowry. And it's blocked off the line. I'm going to make changes. I can't wait any longer. Owen Edmonds, 6.4, replaced by McNeil. Bartle, 6.5, replaced by Matas. Callum Bonner at right back, maybe? I don't know. We'll give it 10 more before the final sub. I know we might need Sunday Balogun. That's why I'm waiting. But yes, Charlie, thank you for your support with the Cliftonville series. It's great to have you all along for it. We have equalised now with Flauhout. Don't know how that will affect the changes we've made, but fingers crossed it won't be too negative. But I am really enjoying it. It's one of the series I've enjoyed most this season. I said before I started and before it was released that I'd probably end up enjoying it more than any other series this season. And I've been proven right. I've absolutely loved it. And Wapos, the Cliftonville save's really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. Thank you. It does mean a lot. I was honestly, before it, I knew I was going to love it. But I was really worried about it on the channel, because normally, traditionally, and you'll ask even the big YouTubers, when you start in a different nation and something completely different to the sort of traditional English or European save, you do normally get a reduction in views and support for it. But it's not happened at all here. It's gone the other way, and I couldn't be more grateful for it. And it opens the door for me for streaming next year as to what types of saves I can do. So I was looking at perhaps doing a sort of one of those Build a Nation series as my live stream. Maybe with Wales, maybe in Scotland, maybe in Northern Ireland again. So that's something to keep the door open for. There will be loads of votes on the community page as FM21 approaches. Once we've got a release date and features, we'll think about what we want to do. And obviously I'll let you guys get your involvement in. Oh, Sheffield United just went from distance, nearly scored a screamer. I don't know what we do for the last 5 here. I want to go positive, but I don't want to concede from the corner. As Moran's going to put it in. In-swinger, headed away, Flauhaut. Oh, it's in. Toby Civic scores it. So now we're going to go attacking. Now we're going to be more expressive. Run at the defence. I don't know what to do with this Burnley side. They've been so poor this year in comparison. I know we've lost some of the experience, but it really is frustrating. So unfortunately, it's not to be by the looks of it. And that's not a good way to lose the game. Sheffield United 2, Burnley 1. Basically, a side scrapping for their lives have managed to avoid relegation because of beating us. The only saviour we've potentially got is the youth intake, which will come at some point in this international break. But we're basically out the European hunt now. And we're probably going to finish in the bottom half. I think the media, did they want a top half finish the board? What do they want? Oh no, they still only want to avoid relegation. So they'll be alright. But all of the focus has to go on Europe now. Can we get through in that one? We've got 3 weeks of international duty to come. And we need a youth intake to save the day. But a very interesting situation. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with it. It is a very poor crop of players, unfortunately. It's actually getting worse. The head of youth development is a good judge of ability. So he's probably not going to be wrong. What we have to hope is that it's an awful youth intake with one absolute superstar. But I don't think it is going to be. So let's just try and get through this 3 weeks as quickly as possible. Hopefully there'll be no disasters. And hopefully we'll have a pleasant surprise. But I'm not banking on it at the moment. It looks like it's going to be a very tough end to the season here. If we win the Europa Conference, all's forgiven. We know that we've done our job then. But I don't know that that's going to happen. I just wanted to thank everyone quickly as well for the support. I've seen a couple over on the podcast channel for the championship predictions. They've gone really well at the start of the season. And I've seen a couple migrating over from this channel. So it's really, really grateful for your support over there. We really have enjoyed it at the start of this season. I mean, basically our episode, the view count is matching our subscriber count, which is a small channel, is incredible. So to have loyal support like that is brilliant. The next instalment will be out tomorrow, of course. It'll be recorded before Luton's Carabao Cup tie, though. So I'm sure I'll say something that makes me look silly. And just as we got Prika back to fitness, we then get another injury. And this time it's Graham Ruthven, who's a far better player. Should mean he's back before, though. It's just whether Australia risk him. Because if they do, it'll put him in a world of trouble. And we're just waiting patiently now for that youth intake. It's going to be the make or break moment for the season, with the exception of the European campaign. Off the pitch, it's the one thing that can cheer us up. So those four can all play for the 23s, as can Prika, as can Davis. And to be fair, Grondona can as well. So let's skip through. Give me the youth intake. We need some good news. We really need something positive. We're watching FA Cup ties that we could have been involved in. We've missed the Carabao Cup final, which we obviously bottled early on to League One opposition. And we know we've got a tough tie coming up in Europe, which could cost us our chance at a trophy. So it's all pretty negative at the moment. Not the best start to the stream at all. Not what we were hoping for. And it's Leicester v Everton, 2-0 to them. Leicester obviously deciding 7th, so that does help us for now. In fact, they've dropped out. West Ham are there. And then 9 points clear. They've played a game more, but that's going to be hard to catch, to be really honest. Charlie, last week we spoke about numbers and positions. This week my question is boots and positions. Can a ball-winning defender only wear Adidas World Cup boots? Do you take note of which player is using which boots? Well, that's the question, isn't it? And again, it probably depends on nation a bit. I think we have to be honest, as we've got our youth intake, we'll have a look in a minute. The boots thing has sort of gone past the stage where I worry about it, because it's got so silly in terms of the fluorescent colours taking charge. The thing that annoys me more is shin pads. I mean, if you look at George Moncur, if he plays tonight, Grealish is another one. You're not even protecting yourself. So that sort of thing annoys me more. For the boots, I think it's gone too far now. It used to be, for me, black boots only. But, yeah. That was because I could only afford cheap boots. So I don't know how we'll work with other people. Let's have a look at our youth intake. Oh, it's all rubbish. It is absolutely awful. So the standout player, according to Jonathan Pepper, is Carl Hall. Because he's already 1.5 star ability, 2.5 potential. I'm not quite sure how he's rated 1.5 ability. It can only be bravery and determination, because he's got nothing else. In terms of the best one with potential, it's Ray Smith, a centre-half with 3-star potential, and he's rubbish as well. That is absolutely terrible. Oh dear. What on earth have we got ourselves into here? What a sort of disappointing end to the season. Anticlimactic could be the word here. If we go out of Europe, we're going to be in big trouble. I think that's the only thing that keeps us going at the moment. Apologies, this is not the most positive stream. We're normally very happy, very Larry. But today, Burnley are not giving us much to cheer about. Although we managed to sneak through on aggregate against Guimaraes, we've played 3, lost 3 on the night today. We're not looking in good shape. We've got a big 3-week international break. We've had a terrible youth intake in a Youth Academy challenge. We've then got West Ham away from home, who we have to beat because they're the side occupying 7th at the minute. But then we've got to keep everyone fit for Rennes on the Thursday, which is the competition we have to win to make this worthwhile. It is not easy. It really is not. So let's just try and get through to the next game, because that can be the only thing that saves our mood at the minute. It is very difficult when you have a poor run of form before the international break as well. So that's where it becomes difficult. Alexander Hleb, yeah, he was the original mini shin pad man. I'm sure there was probably someone before him, but it just annoys me. Protect yourself. I mean, George Moncurs are a lot worse than Grealish. He barely covers his shin at all. Hang on a minute. I'm just going back there. Have I read that right? So the director of football was recommended to sign 5 players. Oh, sorry, the head of youth development was recommended to sign 5 players from the intake. Or was it going further? He's recommended to sign everyone. There's some terrible players in there. He's listed one of them as surplus to requirements and still said to sign them. I don't understand. We'll just do it because we need to have as many youth academy players as possible. That is bizarre though. So what we need to hope now, no injury news. We'll go and do a little team talk off the pitch before we get into our next game. And hopefully we can get some of these boys back on board. Dwight McNeil's starting to decline now. Decent championship player. 31 years of age, physically over the hill. Had a little spell just before Christmas in Europe, but it's not happening for him at the minute. But we're still having to rely on people like him, and that's the problem. Ever since we started this series, we've had awful youth intakes from Burnley. Brilliant ones before it. But yeah, it's a bit difficult. France have smashed Israel 6-2. That's a good scoreline. And Barcelona and Jadon Sancho in contract talks. We know from an alternate universe in a head coach how crucial he was. But we're just a week away now. We're getting towards that big game. And away at West Ham, we're in 7th place. 9 points ahead with a game more played. If we have any chance of getting into Europe via the league, we have to win. There is not an option of drawing or losing. We have to win it. So that's going to be a very interesting moment. And it's going to be a crucial one. In fact, those last 2 games this morning are going to be the keys. Because if we can get through against West Ham, get the win, get into contention for that top 7 place, and then we can win the first tie in Europe comfortably. It gives us a little lease of life going into next week's one. We're not going to worry about contracts for now. We can do that off camera between the episodes. And I'll be interested to see how Luton are getting on, actually. I haven't had a look at them recently. Wrexham winning their L game, and you'll be happy with that one. And we're getting through quite quickly. So that's the positive. I'm just seeing if there are other Premier League fixtures today. There must be, because other teams have played. So Sheffield United are playing Newcastle. That's on the Friday night. So it was last weekend. So our game must have been off if the other side that we were supposed to play was still in the FA Cup, perhaps. And Whoppers, can you sign youth players from other teams, or do you rely purely on your own intakes? No, so in this series we agreed we can sign players from other teams. The main reason being that because we only really knew we were going to have 2 or 3 seasons, while I traditionally would do a youth academy challenge with just intakes, or players from the same nation, for example, I knew that it would mean that we would be so hindered we wouldn't get anywhere in this series. So we had to make the decision to sign players under 18 just so that we had the option to try and make something happen this series, really. So it's more players that will be sort of become homegrown rather than already homegrown that are in the side at the moment in some cases. But we have also signed players over 18 who were homegrown originally at Burnley. Signed some players back as well, just to be backups in the squad. And ignoring scout reports for any 18 pluses. But the loss of experience this summer, particularly some of those from the squad, have really made a difference. We'll go and scout all of these 18 and 17-year-olds. Hopefully there'll be a gem in there somewhere. But I'd be suggesting that they wouldn't be released if they were. And some of them on loan at Dover at 18 suggest they probably aren't going to be first teamers. Thank you for the extra thumbs up and views. Do appreciate it as we move towards 11 o'clock. We've got 2 more games to come this morning. A crucial one in the league away at West Ham. And then we move towards our trophy charge in the Europa Conference. Stade Rennais at home. The first leg against Rennes. And then the second leg will come to a conclusion next week. But we need to be in charge of the tie. Wimmer's showing good progress. We had him at Gladbach in the head coach. We know how good he is. 4-star ability now. With Ruffin picking up a knock, it is crucial that he reaches his peak. And he's an example of one of the under-18s we've signed, actually. But I've got a little bit of a dilemma on my hands here. What do we do against West Ham? We have to play our first 11. But if any of them aren't fully fit to start with, then they won't be fit to play Rennes. And that game is most important. Winning a trophy is the key. And all of this makes me more annoyed that we bottled it in the Carabao Cup. So all of those lads can play in the under-23s. As can Ross Marsh. And we'll leave it at that for now. Big week to come in this series. Really big week to come. That's a fair point. The youth intake is terrible. Yeah, it was. Looks about the average youth intake you get in FM20. So you say that. Obviously, the reason that we went from the head coach and carried on with Burnley is because in their youth intakes, all at Burnley, they had Summerskill, Simpson, Edmonds, Lowry. Let's have a look at the other ones. Who was the other one here? There was 5 of them. I'm sure there was another result. Ross Marsh was in there. Callum Bonner, the right back. They've all come through in the space of 4 years in Burnley's youth intakes. Jack Vaughan, he was signed before the youth intake stage. So he's one that's got appearance fees for other clubs, but joined at 14, 15. So there's 7 players in 4 years there. And then since we've come back in, they've been awful. And don't forget, even a little bit older, the likes of Davis and that championship level players, they've came through in the youth intake. Andy May, he's there as well. It's just been unfortunate since. And obviously in the Cliftonville save, and with Dungannon in FM19, it seems like in Northern Ireland we get really good intakes. I'm going to keep an eye on that in Cliftonville because I feel like in Northern Irish football that's going to be a really key, crucial thing moving forward. And next season, could we perhaps do a Build a Nation and Youth Academy challenge at the same time? If you pick the right team, I don't know. But in we go. We've got 1 day to go until the West Ham United game. It's going to be an important one because away from home, West Ham are in charge of that European place at the minute. We're assuming Chelsea will probably come to the party and end up making it their own. But for now, the most important thing for me is making sure that we keep ourselves in a fight. Phil Richards is injured. He will probably miss the game now. The amount of little knocks we've picked up is bizarre. Stoke's still winning. I saw that in the background. They're keeping themselves right in that European hunt. And it looks like Wrexham are winning every week as well. So Arsenal have won 5-0. Everton lost to Villa. Are there any results that affect us? Man City have secured a top 6 place now. Leeds v Liverpool, that's a crucial one. Can Leeds get the win? They can. Leeds have done us a big favour. They've actually gone above us in the league now as well. And then the evening game, Bournemouth-Tottenham, doesn't really affect us. So, looking at the table, 9 points behind West Ham still. Still 6 behind Chelsea and Leicester. Still 2 behind Leeds now, who have overtaken us. But that win against Liverpool has just kept them in the battle with us as well. Although with their games in hand, you'd expect they'd do the job. So let's have a look at Sunday's matches. Chelsea play Leicester. So one of them's going to get points, which is a shame. And at this point, I don't actually know which one I'd rather. Well, because I haven't had a single good youth intake this year. Some players that were just about useful, but that's it. Yeah, I would say generally across the board, I agree with you. They've been a bit weaker than normal. So at Dorking, I mean, probably until season 13 or 14, when we got Gleedle, and then just after Solly and Williams, we didn't really have any good youth intakes. I guess the difference, I would say, is that you used to, even if you had poorer facilities and things, like any club, I guess, get the odd lucky one. The odd superstar that just came through in your intake, or that was good enough to use in your first team at your level. I'd say that's dried up a little bit this year. The big clubs, you still get some of the superstar intakes. But yeah, down the pyramids, definitely in the lower leagues, you don't really get them gems so much this year. Which I suppose is more realistic, because they're often nicked before 16 now by the top clubs. But yeah, it's a good debating point, actually. Right, so I'm looking at this weekend and thinking we need to prioritise Europe. So what I'm going to do is Matas is going to come in for Bartle. There's not much of a change to the squad there. Phil Richards has got a knock, so Harrott has to come in for him. Everyone else is 98% fit, so we'll leave that. On the bench, we've got Phil Richards replaced by Liam Garner. And that is our 11 and 18 to play West Ham. Can we get on top? Can we get ourselves back in European contention via the league? It's going to be so important to us, and I just need to make sure we do it. I want to thank you all for sticking around as well. The watch time this morning is incredible. Those of you that have been able to pop in have been here for a long time, so thank you for putting up with me, particularly the negative 3 weeks in the international break. Not much good news this morning, and we are chasing our first positive result of the day so far. Let's send our assistant to that one. A little bit slow at the minute, but we'll get there eventually. And hopefully, as we get into the game, we'll be able to get a good result. West Ham v Burnley. Golovin still there in the number 10 role. Ben Chilwell at left back. Tielemans in midfield. It's going to be a tough tie. 10 minutes on the clock. West Ham on top. Let's drop to a balanced mentality as well. We'll wait for this highlight first though. Chilwell coming forward from left back. Over halfway. And we've just parted. The centre halves have parted. And it's 1-0 to West Ham. What on earth is going on here? We have absolutely crumbled this season. West Ham on top. Oh, jeez, it is so hard to take. Owen Edmonds with a corner, outswinger. First chance of the match for us. Into the front post, Flauhaut blocked. Simpson saved. Good save by Vasquez, and it's going to be a corner kick. This is frustrating to watch, to say the least. Edmonds to the front post. Simpson loses out. Ashley Harrott picks it up. Golovin gets there, and he brings it away. And look at the counter-attack. It's so easy. It's a cynical foul by Harrott. Easy yellow card. We're in real trouble. We really are. Not just in this game, but overall. Our form's woeful. The confidence is shot. And we've been in this position a couple of times this year. And I've not really seen how we're going to get out of it. Di Piero picks it up in the middle. Talai, the goal scorer, who had the freedom of the pitch. Midfield runner, just left by 4 or 5 different men. Chilwell on the left-hand side. Tielemans. Chilwell again. 2 former Leicester teammates linking up. Over the top from West Ham. Xavier heads away. But he's basically playing in the back 4 there. And he's left space at the back. We're going to go back to positive. We're going to ask for some passion. But I don't know what the positive is at the moment. There doesn't seem to be a solution. Well, but yeah, I think it's better that way. As much as I love getting superstars in the intakes. As we finally got ourselves a goal. West Ham have got a second. Rocha's managed to get the goal. And we are just crumbling here. It is appalling. Yeah, it's not always realistic when your facilities aren't up to scratch. So yeah, I agree. It's not necessarily a bad thing for the game. Because it is, if you look at like the youth intakes we've had at Burnley, the likes of Vaughan and Lowry, they were clearly nicked from other clubs before the age of 16. Because there's those appearance fee things in order and that. So it is more realistic, I'd argue, but it makes it more frustrating as a lower league manager. West Ham are threatening to run riot here. They're absolutely dominant. They're 2-0 up. They're on the front foot again. And they're running the show. This is one of those where we could lose 5 or 6. And we have had a few of those this season. Chilwell to the middle. Long ball forward. Simpson heads away to Harrott. Can we now get on the front foot? He's got to pick the right ball here. Tries to go alone. Beats everyone. Oh, it's hit the post. It's a great save. What a run from Ashley Harrott. What a brilliant bit of goalkeeping. But the first real positive sign of the match. As Owen Edmonds delivers the corner. Lowry's there. Doesn't win it. It falls for Vaughan. 30 yards out on the right. Beats his man and it's a free kick. 25 yards out. And we have to score before half time. We have to get one back. Owen Edmonds will take it. In swinging delivery. That's a free kick. Stupid foul Flauhout. Oh, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel here. I really don't. Carl, I've not had any good youth intakes at all. Yeah, see, we've discussed the same thing. It's very difficult this season because it has made the game more realistic. But I guess go to Northern Ireland's my advice. That's the main thing. If you look at Northern Ireland, we've had brilliant youth intakes. The first season's been great, and hopefully we'll have the same in the second season as well. As we lose out, but we are putting a bit of pressure on now. Craig in with his classic comment, tell the lads to have some pride. I'm glad you managed to catch that in your break at work. I will tell the lads to have some passion at half time. Don't you worry about that. It will be one of your team talks that will be popping up on the 45-minute mark here. What we do need, though, is a goal, so we've got something to work with. Xavier in the middle. We have come back into it the last 10. As Vaughan gets it on the right, beats the fullback again, into the box. 2 men to square it to, who have a chance 6 yards out, and he tries to shoot from an acute angle. Really strange. 5 minutes to the break, and there is no sign of a goal. There is no sign of improvement. Edmonds with a free kick, though, and that's wide to the post. It's a pop shot, basically. That's awful. That really is awful. I'm not telling them the pressure's off. I'm saying I expect a much better performance. The lads are fired up, but we need a reaction. We need something from it now. It does lead us on to the more important game, which is Europe, of course. That's going to be the most important one. If we don't beat Rennes and we lose that chance at a trophy, the series is essentially ruined because we had to win a trophy. 25 minutes to go. There is nothing happening. Ashley Harrott replaced by Mullen. Leon Lowry replaced by Balogun. Matas replaced by Bartle. Disappointing performance and a response very much needed. We're going to go attacking, run at the defence, be more expressive. As attacking as we can be. Let's see if it makes a difference. West Ham have made a couple of subs as well. And we're playing out from the back now with Flauhout. To Simpson. Xavier. Been very deep today, more so than normal. Bartle switches right. Vaughan beats the fullback again. Been the one glimmer of hope so far. Delivery to Lowry, and that one's in via the keeper. We have a goal back against West Ham. It was poor goalkeeping, but I'm hoping that will be a positive sign. It looks like a brief chance. A brief opportunity, perhaps. We've actually had the better of the stats now. So the tactical change has worked for us. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get 2. Vasquez plays out at the back to Townrow and Rocker. Long ball forward to Rawlins. Simpson gets it away to Vimmer. Vimmer back to the keeper's Summerskill. Chance to play it forward himself, and he finds Simpson. Back to the keeper. Summerskill to Flauhout. Out to left back to Vimmer again. Here he comes down the left-hand side. Cuts it in to Xavier. Xavier in the centre circle. The referee's in the way. Get out of the way, son. Out to Vaughan on the right. He's done him again. Into the box. And he's shot straight at the keeper. His final product has not been great. But he has skinned his fullback time and time again. What a shame he hasn't got the final ball right. It looks like we're going to lose it. West Ham 2. Burnley 1. European chances from the league are over. Difficult to take. Really difficult to take that. 11th place in the league, 11 points off. Liverpool have a game in hand. We have to win the Europa Conference now. It's our only chance to get into Europe, and it is our only chance at a trophy. Oh dear. What an absolutely disastrous episode it's been. 4 defeats in a row, and we finish with a home game against Rennes. The dynamics are awful. The morale is low. So we're going to hold a team meeting. We're going to assertively say things haven't gone our way, but we've got the ability to turn it round. The lads agree. The confidence is up. Now let's react to that on Thursday night and keep ourselves in the hunt for a trophy. The most important thing that we can do today. Terrible run of form. You're not wrong there, Whoppers. It has been appalling, to be honest. It's a very strange moment for us. Balogun's been a great servant. I'm actually a little bit at a loss as to what to say about this. Because even when we lost the other games, at the start of the season we weren't scoring goals, but we still looked resolute. Later on in the season we were scoring goals for fun, even though we were a bit leaky at the back. This point, we've just lost everything. We just have little collapses, 10 or 15 minutes at a time. And with Stade Rennais coming up, it's not going to get any easier. They've got probably a team that's as good as us on paper. And that means, like a Premier League game, we're going to have to be at our best to win. So I'm hoping that team meeting will make a big difference. But I'm not sure. But back to the positives. I'm excited ahead of Luton v United tonight. A big moment for my football club. Really disappointing that we can't go to the game, of course. But a massive positive for Luton Town Football Club. It's a big moment for us. We appointed a new coach yesterday, Chris Cohen, who was always a bit of a hero for me in FM. So I'm looking forward to seeing what his impact is at the club. And a younger member of the coaching team as well, which is great. But otherwise, probably not so many positives on the football manager front. Everything else looking really good. Cliftonville will be back at 4:30 today. That's going to be the most important thing, of course. And that's the one where we're having a wonderful time. We've got a big European game tonight as well, so hopefully that will go well. If you haven't yet and you've joined along now, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Thanks as always for your support. As we're just waiting to skip ahead to the final game of the morning. Stade Rennais at home. The first leg, the second leg will then be at the start of next week's live stream. We've got a new scout who's brilliant. What a shame in this series we can't use his services. Unless he finds under any Spaniards under 18. That's when he could be the hero. Lots of inbox messages. Lots of scout reports. So these are all the 18-year-olds. Let's have a look how well they're rated. So Nathan Flood has decent potential. He's someone we might bring in. Kieran Turner, no. Dale Jones, no. Kai Simmons, no. Hutchison, maybe. Not a good personality and on the brink of no. Johnny Warrington, 17-year-old centre-half, will probably sign him. Goslin at 18, no. Andras Dullo from Liverpool. He's got more current ability. He's 18 till the 1st of June. So by the time he signs, he'll be 19. So we can't sign him. Warrington's 17, so he'll be fine. I didn't look at the other one. Nathan Flood. 13th of August, so he'll be alright. And Kareem Boucard. Decent keeper, but probably not. It's a position we're well covered. I say that though. John Page from Liverpool. 4-star potential. Birthday's not till October, so we'll definitely look at signing him. So once we play Thursday's game, off camera, I'll be getting busy with summer signings. Just one day to go. It's our 600th game in management as well. Obviously, we continued this from our head coach series. So we'd already had our stints at Salford with Ireland. Who else had we had? Charlton, Scunthorpe, Halifax, Kettering. Lots and lots to reflect on. And actually, that's a point on this year's head coach. Normally, on the way up, you have to come out of England quite a lot. We didn't do so till we got to Gladbach, did we? But this is the big game. The final one of the morning. It is Stade Rennais. It is Europa Conference quarter-final action. And Phil Richards is back to fitness. So we'll see how Harrop played. I think he came off after a poor game, didn't he? He did. So Phil Richards will start. Big decision. Grondona in goal will start. We always change the keepers for this competition. Harrop on the bench for Ghana. Everyone else I believe is fit. So Bartle will come back into the 11. Lowry scored again, I think, didn't he? Was he the goal scorer? He was against West Ham. That's the squad we're going to go for. I think that's the best one. Into the match we go. What was Wimmer's rating, actually? Here's the other one I want to look at. 6.7's fine. Our strongest possible 11 and a crucial game in Europe. This is where it's all decided. The crucial moment of the morning, and will probably determine what mood we're in when we start next week's stream. So let's see if we can finish on a high. 4 defeats in a row. They've got a Wonderkid in their lineup. We've got a few. We have to keep a clean sheet and we have to score goals. But immediately, it's Buendia with a free kick for Rennes. Into the back post. Oh, it's going to be in. Oh, my words. 2 minutes on the clock. The best player has scored for Rennes. We've not defended a set piece. And we're probably going out of Europe. What an end this is going to be. Edmonds with a free kick in. Can we return the favour? We can't. And Maffeo's away on the counter-attack. This could get even worse here. This could be a European nightmare. Maffeo gets the ball into Tierno. We have never had a live stream where we have lost every single game. As Wimmer wins the tackle to Richards. Up to Leon Lowry. He needs support. Vaughan's chasing up with him. He gets it from the slide challenge. Jack Vaughan to the edge. Has the shot over the bar. It is not going to be our night, is it? What an awful turn of events this has been. As an Englishman, it's understandable that you start and stay in England and your surroundings as long as can, especially with the number of leagues available there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing in FM, and it's probably realistic again, because the English league is so strong. If you don't fail at the sort of National League North or South level, you're always going to get another job, as we've gone 2-0 down to Rennes. We're out of Europe. We don't come back from this. It is getting embarrassing. The commentary is absolutely right. We're going to ask for some passion, but I don't know the way out of this. But yeah, it is probably realistic. I mean, in Season 1 we failed with Hemel Hempstead, and then we had to go to Dungannon in FM20. And then we rebuilt, and then we came back to England. But in terms of if you're doing well in England, you'll normally get another job in England. It's a fair point, isn't it? And your reputation isn't going to grow necessarily across the water. But for us, I'd like it if we could get more jobs sort of in Scotland on the way up. In FM18, we went to Coleraine and Ross County. That was fun. I loved going to Dungannon in FM19. But yeah, normally it is later down the line you end up in Europe. As Jack Vaughan's in. Oh, it's straight at the keeper again. Oh, my words. This has been the worst performance of the season. The worst run of form we've been in a live stream. And possibly in any series this year. What a disaster. And they're coming forward again. We can't even contain them. They're going to be out of sight at this rate. They've had 2 shots on target, 2 goals. Edmonds in, Simpson's header over. And we have wasted loads. Oh my word. 2-0 down at half time. 2 away goals. We've asked for desire. The team meeting obviously hasn't worked. The performance has been absolutely appalling. And in they come again with Ismail Assar. Bonner gets there. Can we clear it away? Straight back to danger. Mansour picks it up. Into Lemons, the first goal scorer, the key man. Out to the right. It's Medinsky. Into the box. Beats 2 men. Into Sarr. He's unmarked. He's completely unmarked. It's 3-0. We're going to have to make changes because we need there to be a sign that we're upset. Ruthven on at left back. Balogun on up front. Bartle replaced by Matas. It's going to be too late. It is an absolute nightmare. And I've got a feeling that after this season we might not even have a job. What a way to end, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you make a good point there as well, Wapos, as well. Once you go out of England, I mean, when we went to Gladbach, was probably one of my most enjoyable parts of the head coach, but it did get less popular as we've gone 4-0 down. I don't actually know what to say at this point. We're just going to have to go attacking and try and score some goals, because we need to give ourselves a fighting chance. But embarrassing is the word that comes to mind here. But yeah, it is realistic that English managers will get jobs in England if they're doing well. And that their reputation in big European leagues won't come straight away. But I think there's probably more that go to Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland than happens in FM. That would be my only comment. Here's Bonner on the right-hand side. We need probably 2 or 3 quick goals to have any glimmer of hope. Balogun shots blocked. Vaughan to Balogun again. His shot saved by the keeper. This has actually been a nightmare. 4-0 down at home to Rennes. I mean, we're doing worse than we would have done with Cliftonville. Balogun's corner in, headed away to Sarr, and it could be 5. Every counter-attack they look like scoring. 5 shots on target, 4 goals. We have had 19 shots, 10 on target, and we've not scored a goal. We've only forced 2 good saves, really. It's been feeble. And that is the worst way to end what on the pitch has been a dreadful stream. And because it's been disastrous, we've ended up talking about FM more. But that is possibly the worst possible finish. We're definitely out of Europe now. What a disaster. I mean, the board rating of us is going to keep dropping because we've lost games heavily. 5 games played today, 5 defeats. 4-2 at Chelsea, 2-1 at Guimaraes in the second leg. We snuck through anyway. 2-1 at Sheffield United, 2-1 at West Ham, 4-0 at Rennes. Leaves us in 11th place in the league, out of the European hunt. Basically out of the Europa Conference before the second leg. And in dire straits. How do we finish this season with mediocrity? No European football, will have to trim the squad. And no good youth intake either, which was possibly the worst part of the save. Or the worst part of the morning. I think it's fair to say that has been an unmitigated disaster. Thank you very much for sticking with me and for putting up with my ever worsening mood as the games got worse, as the results got worse, as the form decreased, as we ran out of competitions, and of course as the youth intake was a disaster as well. We'll be back the same time next week to see if we can recover any of this awful situation and just to polish off the season with Burnley. Thank you very much for your support as always. I hope you enjoy Luton v Manchester United tonight if you're a fan. And if you haven't yet, please chuck a thumbs up on it. If you came in late, you can see any of the stream replay later on the channel. And fingers crossed, we'll be able to have more positive news next week. Cliftonville back at 4:30 today. Big European ties in that one. I really hope you can come and join me. Thank you again for your incredible support with that series. And I hope as we go daily with it next week, we'll be able to maintain the support on the channel. Thank you for your support as always. Thank you for sharing your Tuesday morning with me. And I'll see you next week at the same time. Fingers crossed, in a slightly better mood. That will be up to the Burnley players though. See you next week.